There used to be universally accepted standards of journalism, tenets to abide by that were revered. After all, the notion of journalism was to be a voice for the people. The Society of Professional Journalists Code of Ethics encouraged to hold those in power accountable and be a voice for the voiceless. In recent years, legacy media has just been another voice for the powerful and cheered on more censorship of the voiceless. So it's not too surprising an Arizona State journalism professor is advocating for throwing out objectivity altogether. Professor Leonard Downey says the media is just too neutral. If the media was too neutral, I wouldn't have been able to do a media malfeasance roundup every week for more than a year. Do the newsrooms that are tossing out objectivity even really know what it means?
Former executive editor for the Washington Post and a former CBS News president interviewed 75 mainstream media leaders to gauge how the industry views the concept of objectivity, which is ironic because objectivity is just when something is based on facts. You are being or attempting to be objective when you make claims of fact about the external world, about reality. Let me show you how these leaders' claims are self-referentially incoherent and therefore necessarily false. This editor-in-chief of the San Francisco Chronicle said objectivity has to go. That's making an objective claim about reality, namely that in reality, objectivity has to go, which is contradictory. It's like me saying that speech has to go. I'm saying that the thing I'm using has to go. An Associated Press executive editor said, "It's objective by whose standard? That standard seems to be white, educated, and fairly wealthy." But to say that something is white or is educated, is fairly wealthy, is to make an objective claim about something in reality. She's using objectivity in order to disprove objectivity. Listen, anytime anyone tells you there is no objective truth, ask them, is that true? If they say yes, they're wrong, and if they say no, they're wrong.
Corporate-controlled media certainly hasn't been objective or neutral when it comes to how they treat a Trump presidency versus a Biden administration. They've parroted the dangers of misinformation.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse. Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
While spewing out actual misinformation. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when we deceive. Mis and disinformation are the buzzwords used as the battle cry to condone censorship. Now evidence floods out that those cheering for censorship were the biggest purveyors of actual misinformation propaganda campaigns. It arguably began with blaming Russia for any inconvenient truth. Thanks to Twitter files, we're learning more about the full extent of this mass disinformation effort. Supposed mainstream media attempted to delegitimize Trump's win in 2016 by suggesting Russia was behind it. Matt Taibbi reveals the Hamilton 68 project, which claimed to monitor 600 Russian disinformation Twitter accounts, was a total hoax. Yet its fake research was cited by nearly all the networks and sites like Mother Jones. Elon Musk, an American group, made false claims about Russian election interference to interfere with American elections. The phony Hamilton 68 effort targeted David Horowitz for censorship, according to Front Page Mag, just one of many conservative Americans accused of having been manufactured by Russian bots. And the war against Trump mass media failed the public by coddling the corruption in the Biden family. They hid and tried to discredit Hunter's laptop.
Who do you think is behind this?
Well, the Russians would be my number one guess.
Obviously, Russia would be the chief suspect.
This information Rudy Giuliani is peddling very well could be connected to some sort of Russian government disinformation campaign.
CBS News has learned the FBI is now looking into whether the information found on the device may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Only now, Hunter's own lawyers are debunking that by calling on federal and state prosecutors to open criminal investigations into those exposing the contents of his hard drive. One of the recipients of the letters is a Delaware AG who has a long history with the Biden crime family. According to Gateway Pundit, she's friends of the Bidens, and Hunter's own brother was the AG of Delaware at one time. So essentially, Hunter would like the U.S. government and taxpayers to cover the costs of investigating the individuals who shared the corrupt and criminal acts found on his laptop. It wasn't until just recently some outlets finally admitted the authenticity of his laptop. New York Times waited more than 500 days, according to Breitbart. Of course, long after it could have affected the outcome of the 2020 election. But even in recent reports, the New York Times refers to Hunter's laptop as stolen, when in fact it was abandoned and ownership signed over when he never came to pick it back up. And now the propaganda puppets have continually allowed the White House to lie about Biden's alleged mishandling of classified documents. We learned this week that Biden's supposed cooperation and transparency is all contrived. Red State reports the FBI searched the Penn Biden Center in November, where Biden's classified documents problem started. No one at the White House or the DOJ bothered to mention that until this leak. This marks at least the second time the White House has purposely misled the public about the severity of the situation. The first being when KJP said the search for classified docs was complete.
They completed the search. The search is complete. He is confident in this process. You should assume that it's been completed, yes. After the search concluded last night, that search was completed last night.
But the search has been ongoing. The White House claims they've been cooperative and transparent, yet we now learn the National Archives was blocked from releasing a statement about Biden's classified documents earlier, according to Daily Mail. House Oversight and Reform Committee Chairman James Comer says the only two entities that could have given the order are the White House and the Department of Justice, putting the onus on either Biden or Attorney General Merrick Garland, which is weird because Garland says he's not partisan.
That we do not have different rules for Democrats or Republicans. We apply the facts and the law in each case in a neutral, nonpartisan manner.
So Garland approved a raid on Trump's home over classified documents, but might have blocked the National Archives from letting the public know about Biden's classified collection before the midterm elections. You can expect more of this transparency from the supposed governor of Arizona, Katie Hobbs. She avoided reporters, refused to debate while campaigning, and now she's threatening reporters who dare to ask questions.
The people of Arizona probably have a legitimate question. They want to know where you stand personally on the death penalty. Can you tell us?
Oh, she said that she's not going to tell you.
I know she said that.
Okay. How many times do you want her to say the same thing over and over?
Don't make me use this boot.
Still developing this week just how many Chinese spy balloons are hovering over us right now. The Biden administration seems unfazed. We only found out about the first fascist floater after it was over sensitive military areas in Montana, including those armed with nuclear weapons. Now a second CCP spy balloon has been confirmed flying over Latin America. And this after a press release from Canada's National Defense saying it's monitoring a Chinese spy balloon. The Associated Press has now disappeared this original report. The link now redirects. The first article dismissed security concerns, saying it was just an accident the CCP balloons hovered over. They were just doing weather research. And the source for that? Well, because China said so.
Oh, but wait.
It appears that China spy balloon has now been shot down over the Atlantic Ocean.
Finally shot down after it crossed the entire nation. Former President Trump says Joe Biden has surrendered America's borders to illegal aliens, and now he has surrendered American airspace to communist China.
It's rarely even mentioned that China has many thousands of spies working in the United States in business, finance, academia, technology, media, and likely even government, very sadly. As president, I established a special initiative at the Department of Justice tasked with the sole mission of targeting Chinese espionage in the United States. Joe Biden terminated that program.
Forbes gives us one of those classic snarky headlines this week. No, Project Veritas video doesn't prove Pfizer is mutating COVID-19. Author Bruce Y. Lee asks, who is Jordan Tristan Walker, the unwitting whistleblower? He lays out that it's hard to verify the supposed Pfizer exec, but fails to point out that's because he was scrubbed from the web after the undercover video was released, and doesn't acknowledge that the drug maker giant never even denied he worked there. How about we ask, who is Bruce Y. Lee? Raheem Kassam did, and after some digging finds the author of the Forbes article, Dr. Lee, is funded in part by guess who? Pfizer. Even his Forbes bio says he's associated with the NIH and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. No conflicts of interest there. Also this week, a fully jab-juiced MSNBC host reveals a health scare.
They determined I had developed myocarditis, inflammation of the actual heart now. In fact, in the end, it was still just the cold that was doing all of this, that had caused all of this inflammation in and around my heart.
Yep, she blames a documented poke side effect on a common cold. Bringing you what's ignored, sensationalized, misleading, or just plain false. That's your media malfeasance for the week. To help me keep exposing the lies and nonsense, subscribe to my channel, ChristyLeeTV.locals.com. For KLIM.news, I'm Christy Lee.